The murder case against Katiso Molefe has been postponed to the 15th of August. That is to allow the magistrate to continue to listen to the submissions made by the state and the legal defense. But for now, let me introduce a forensic investigator, Mr. Chet, who is also representing the Sefoka family. Thank you very much for your precious time. You always assist us in such cases. Today you were listening attentively to the magistrate. Just for the viewer's sake, what transpired in court today?
Good afternoon, Calvin, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, today was a very interesting case. It's the bail application for Katiso Molefe, who's accused of, amongst others, the murder of DJ Sumbody. That forms part of 4 murders that he's currently accused of, both in a conspiracy perspective as well as actual common cause. The state presented their case as into why they're opposing bail, and we learned something very interesting. They consider this a murder for hire syndicate, in other words, contract killings. And this has become a massive problem in South Africa. We're seeing that people are resorting to the use of bullets to resolve issues and disputes rather than mediation, arbitration or litigation. Another thing that was exceptionally interesting that came out of the state's case today is that this was essentially a cold case before this unit that's been doing excellent work in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng as part of the political killings task team took over. In other words, this case was going nowhere, and if that unit had not taken over, we would not be standing here today. This court case would not have been unraveling before our very eyes.
When we look at the submissions from both the state and the legal defense, where are we going to?
Well, next week Friday there's a continuance on the 15th, and that continuance is based on 2 points that are being raised by the defense in respect of points that were put forward by the state in opposition to the bail. So they want to raise these matters, but they have to raise it in a formalized manner with an affidavit. So they're going to draft this affidavit, they're going to come back to court next week, and thereafter the magistrate will make a decision. So the magistrate heard first from the defense as to why the applicant, Mr. Molefe, wants bail, and then they heard from the state as to why the state is opposing bail. I can tell you this, from the family's perspective, and most probably most South Africans, everybody is opposed to bail, simply because a clear message needs to be sent to these murder for hire syndicates that this can no longer be tolerated in our country. We cannot be settling disputes with bullets.
Today we saw the accused Molefe sitting down wearing a brown jacket, at some point engaging with his legal defense. Is there anything that we can learn or take from him?
Look, he seems in a position where he can hire the best in the country. You must understand that the counsel that read his affidavit today is Mike Helens SC, one of the most experienced advocates in this country's history. So I think he's very confident in his legal team. You must also understand that on the Vereniging murder case, he was initially refused bail. It was taken on appeal to the High Court, where he was granted bail. So they seem to think that the same circumstances may exist for him to get bail. We're, on the other hand, saying no. The more murders that are being added, the more chance there's somebody of interfering with witnesses, interfering with evidence, and maybe even fleeing the jurisdiction of this country.
Let's talk about the family now, as you are mentioning them. How are they feeling?
They're still traumatized. Every time there's a court appearance, it brings up that trauma. But they've reached a stage where closure is imminent for them. You must understand, this happened in November of 2022. The case essentially went cold a year ago. Since then, and with the use of this phenomenal unit, we're now seeing results that were completely unexpected and unanticipated. And I think that gives a measure of comfort to the family.